So the next question is, why do some outputs still go to the terminal when I redirect it? Okay, so let me show you. Okay, whatever. Yeah, this one. Okay, so if I use this command ls-l, we all know it's going to list out the file in the current directory, right? If I need to redirect the output of this to our temporary files, I can do it, right? Everyone knows this is a redirection operator. Okay, so if I look inside this file, I will see the output of this ls-l command, which is fine. Okay, if I need to list out the specific file, I can do it. Okay, and same way, if I need to redirect the output to a file, I can do it. It's pretty basic, right? Everyone is aware of this one. Now let's make the situation tricky. If I want to list out a file which does not exist, let's say this one, and if I try to redirect this output to a file, and if I look at this file, I think I need to use the new file. Okay, a.txt is fine. You will see that output is not redirected, and it spit it back to the screen. Like it displayed the this whatever this is error back to the screen. So anyone know why even this error is not redirected back to the this file, and why I'm seeing this error to the screen in this command, in case of this command, or in case of a file which does not exist?
We have to redirect the standard error also.
Yes. Yes. So that's what I want to heard. So in Linux, we have three things. One is called 0, which is standard in. Make it big before someone's complain. One is called standard out, and second 2 is called standard error. Standard in, we all know, like our keyboard, the way we are entering the input or giving the input to the command. So for example, if I use this cat a.txt, I am basically entering all this input from my keyboard, right? I am giving it. So that is called standard in input. Standard output is basically your terminal. So when you are executing this command or any command which exists, right? Or anything which does not exist, you are getting the output back to your terminal. So that is called your standard out. Okay. And if there is something which is not present, then you are getting this standard error, which is the number 2. So in case if you need to redirect the output of a standard error, you need to use this 2. Now, if you look at a.txt, you will see this one. Now, just to make this thing a little bit complicated, okay, let's start with this one. Let me try to list this file, but at the same time, I want to list some file, not 22, but let's say this one, which does not exist. Okay. If I want to redirect the output to a particular file, what do you guys think is going to happen? So let me rephrase that. I want to list out the file, okay, out of which one of these file exists and one of these file does not exist, okay, or do not exist. And if I try to redirect the output to this, right, what do you guys think is going to happen?
For the existing file, there should be one entry in the output file, and for the standard one, we will get error on the terminal itself. That will not be redirected.
Exactly. So now, if you look at this, a command obviously. So you see that for the file which exists, we have this output inside this particular file, the file where we have redirected the output. But the file which does not exist, we will get it back on the standard error, right? Now, my next question is, I want to redirect both the standard in, I mean, the file which exists output, as well as the file which does not exist output to a single file, like both the standard out and standard error to a single file. Is there any way I can do it? And do you know there is a shortcut for that? That's called this one. It's called ampersand greater than. So what Mohit has mentioned on the chat, 2 greater than ampersand question mark, question 1, that is going to redirect both the standard out and standard error to a file. But there is a shortcut in a shell called ampersand greater than, which is going to redirect both the standard out and standard error to a file. Let's try that. And now if you try to open this file, this has both standard out as well as standard error. Okay. Now one tricky question. Let me show you this one. I mean, anyone who's using shell script for some time, you might have encountered this situation where you need to check the Java version. So in that case, don't worry about the version, but let's say it's 1.8. Not let's say it is 1.8.0. Okay. So I think you guys might have created a script where you need to get this Java version, right? Pass out this Java version, and you need to write some condition. For example, if Java version is 1.8.0, do this, or if it's 1.1 or whatever with the latest version, you need to perform some other task. Okay, that is fine. So basically, you see that this Java version is getting displayed on my screen, right? Which is our standard out, which we have learned it so far. So let me redirect this output to a file, java.out. Okay, which is fine, perfectly fine. I'm just trying to redirect this output to some file, and then on the later stage, I'm going to parse this file, get out whatever the version, or just to make it specific, let's say I'm making this file as Java 1.8. Okay, when I try to redirect this output, it is not getting redirected. If I try to open this file called Java 1.8, it is blank. But if I try to see on the screen, it just get the out. I'm getting the output back to my screen. Anyone knows why this output is getting back to the screen and not it is redirecting to a file? This is a simple case, right? We just executed this command called Java version. We got this output back. Now I want to redirect this output to a file for further processing in future, wherever it is. But this output is not getting redirected. Okay. Even if I try to do it like this, because this is just a standard out, I tried like this way, but it doesn't work. Anyone, I mean, it's not a technical reason, but anyone who deals with this kind of a script, you might know the reason why we are getting this output back to the screen and not to a file. Anyone know why this is happening? So there's not a technical reason, but whoever who defined this parameter called hyphen version, he or she decided that this should not be treated like the output which is treated is not a standard out. It should be treated as standard error. Okay. So if you try to do it via 2, I told you it's a standard error. And if you do it like this, now if you check Java 1.8.out, you will see the output in the file. It's just an edge case if you encountered it, and in somewhere in the interview they have asked this question. So it's not a technical reason, but whoever who defined this particular parameter, they have decided that this value which has been outputted to my screen is not treated as standard out, but treated as standard error. So they redirected it into a standard error. Any questions so far? Just for the interview point of view, remember these 3 things. Standard in, which is your keyboard. Standard out, this is your terminal in a standard way. And This is also your terminal. Unless or until you are redirecting the output to a file, which is the other way, right? The way we have seen. But I mean, this is how it is defined, and basically these are some of the standards. 0 for keyboard, 1 for this standard out and terminal, and 2 for standard error.